That is really smooth. Hey guys, I'm Sterling W. I'm going to go ahead and go over this new Moza Mini-P 3-axis gimbal I just got for myself. This is part of my vlogging gear that I kept. I've actually evolved my vlogging gear and also my video gear through the years, and overall it's been pretty awesome. And I'm going to do a quick overview review as well as a setup, disassembly, as well as put it away, and also how to use it. I use it. So over the years, I've been using different selfie sticks and stuff like that, and this is my newest addition, the Mini-P. So as you can see from this video, it stabilizes all the movement that, I basically put one of my cell phones on there as a camera, moved it crazily around, and it stabilizes the video. So you have a nice clean video. It doesn't use the software stabilization like how like the Insta360 or any action cam uses to basically stabilize your video. This is all motor video, and instead of just using a selfie stick like this one, it basically uses little motors to do it. So it's a little bit more advanced. Yes, it's really cool, and overall, I think it's quite worth it if you want to start getting more advanced camera work with your vlogging. It makes a lot of sense because it stabilizes a lot of your video to get better footage. Anyways, let's go ahead and set this thing up. So it already comes with a 3/4 mount on the bottom, and it has a tripod foot on it. So I'm gonna go ahead and screw that on. Pretty straightforward. Screw it all the way in, and it actually acts as a long elongated handle for you to use later. So I'll show you in a bit, when we do a live version of this. So I'm gonna go ahead and set it there. You're gonna need to set it on a flat surface so you could stabilize it later. Here is the mount bracket that you're supposed to mount a 1/4 inch screw mount on the bottom of it. You also put a smartphone on it. There's a smartphone mount that goes with it, that comes with it as well. I'm gonna put my Insta360 1R on this thing and screw it onto a GoPro 1/4 inch mount. So I'll go ahead and put that in the center, and we're gonna have to balance this a little later. So I'm gonna hand screw this in and then tighten it with a screwdriver or with a coin if you want. Make sure you get this thing balanced and parallel to the bracket. It's very important that you balance all this stuff out later. So make sure it's also right hand, that the L bracket is the right of your right hand and stuff, so it points forward. We'll go ahead and slide this down into this into the thing. So to unlock it, there's a big thumb unlock button there, and you go unlock and twist counterclockwise so that it shows, and then you can unlock the motor drives, that little red button switch. Now, I don't know all the terminology of this, but to me, I just have to make sure you know where all your knobs are. So all the knobs are facing forward right now. You soon have to release all the knobs. I'm going to unlock that main switch on the bottom, the center part. Notice that everything falls down and there's labeling. You want to make sure the labeling points upward. So it's right side up. So when you're reading it, if it's right side up, that means it's the correct way it's supposed to be. If it's upside down, it's wrong. So I found out the hard way. I just slowly played with this, and I looked at the YouTube videos. It just confused me, so I made this video so it's a lot faster. So if you basically just think of it as a hanger, you go slide that bracket onto it as a hanger. Go ahead and tighten that, loosely tighten this thing so it won't move around. The reason why is because we have to start calibrating this thing and balancing this thing out. So if you let it go, it's going to just basically fall out. What you want to do is you want to start balancing this guy. If you unlocked all of these knobs, those little thumb screws, first you gotta do the forward falling and backward falling first. You notice that it goes forward, back, and you want to get it somewhere in between and slowly balance it out so that it balances right there. It makes it easier if you actually lowered that bracket, so there's more weight to the bottom, so it's easier to find the center. So I'm gonna go ahead and get as close as I can. And of course, what I should do is actually lower that bracket. I'm thinking that out loud because otherwise it's going to be hard. So I'm going to go ahead and loosen the bracket that actually holds the camera and lower it down a little bit more so there's more weight so it's easier to center. Then I'm going to again center it. Now look how fast that was. Like I said, when I first start doing this calibration and learning this on YouTube, it took me like 10 minutes to figure out how to calibrate this. So this is a much faster way. I could do this like in less than 3 minutes now. So put some weight on it, not put some weight on it, but let the bracket be the counterweight and let it just sink. Now, after you got that first part calibrated for the swivel, you want to now balance out the camera bracket. So go ahead, you have to flip it so the camera faces forward or faces the sky, and you want to balance this whole thing out too. So I'm basically, centering it up and testing it and testing it and testing it to make sure it doesn't fall forward or back. So, and the camera basically looks straight forward, or straight up, I mean, to the sky. So it should be 90 degrees like that. That's the end game. And after a while, it's pretty easy. Now that you centered it up, the last part is that horizontal thing that bounces the entire top part of it. So just loosen a little bit, keep on just letting it go a little until you kind of find the balance between everything until it doesn't move anymore. It doesn't swivel to either right or left side. So just a little bit more play there, a little center. Notice that it's, if you get balance, it's pretty fast to balance. And as long as you get it close to center, that's really what you want to do, because you still have to run a calibration tool on this thing as well. So right there, I'm gonna go ahead, and it looks about right. It doesn't fall to either side, so it seems pretty good. Now, as I finish each part, I'm starting to tighten up all of these thumb screws. So looks about right. Let's go ahead and tighten this baby up. There's also markers on each of those arms, so you might want to take note of your settings so that if you had to set this up on the field, you could have, it's so many millimeters to the right or left for each of these things, so that you could quickly set it up if you didn't change any other things, or if you have to put this back in the box, whatever, you could basically put markings on it so you could quickly set it. Our last balance is, of course, that bottom part, and you want to make sure it's basically perpendicular and parallel to that base. So the last one, of course, is that one. I'm moving the entire rig up on, as you can see the last part, and I'm just making sure it's all balanced out. And that's it. Took less than 5 minutes. Actually, it's even faster than that. But yeah, usually on the field, I do this in less than about probably 2 or 3 minutes now. So after it's all done, we'll go ahead and power this thing up. I already charged this. It uses a USB-C to charge, and it's fully powered. So been using this for about a week or more, actually. And you gotta hit that zoom button 3 times. Okay, let's do it again. 3 times. And it starts doing this wiggle dance. This wiggle dance is pretty cool because what it does, it finds the center and calibrates the thing based on your centering of it. So it should be all balanced out. So now it's ready. So it only takes about a few seconds to try it out and understand it by itself, and now it's ready to rock and roll. So there's a lot of buttons. There's not that many buttons, but there's quite a bit of buttons, and you should take a look at the manual or the YouTube stuff on how to actually use this thing. But out of the box and after you calibrate it, it works pretty darn well. There's a little trigger in the front, and that thing will, if you tap it 2 or 3 times to hold it, you actually use the joystick and other things to move this thing around as you swivel. It basically stays level as well as stabilized, which is cool. And look, if you move it around backwards, forwards, it doesn't matter. It stays like it's like a little bird, chicken head, or yeah, it stays very, very stabilized and balanced. So you can actually use the full resolution of your camera, for stabilized image. So very, very cool stuff, guys. So that's it. There's other tricks and things you could do with this, but I'm going to tell you how to break this thing down and pack it back in. So this is what stumped me a long time when I first did it. First things first, take the camera off. So you got to unlock, or better yet, first things first, to write down all your stats, so you could set this up later faster. But of course, take off the camera bracket first. That's the heaviest part. I'm zooming in so you could unlock all those thumb knobs or thumb knobs, or thumb screws. I think they're called thumb screws. Anyways, we're loosening all this up because we have to move that top knob to the locking position and slide that locking lever in. Then you start to compress all these things in by loosening all the other knobs and slowly working it down so it doesn't move. So that top bar actually goes down to the base of there, and once it does, it won't move again, and you just lock it down. So starting from the top, going to the bottom, you start locking things down. Starting with that swivel one, then you move that lock to there. Now you're locking it against that floor of that other bracket, and you slowly work down all these thumb screws until everything doesn't move anymore. And yeah, it's actually that simple. If take a look at it a few times, you get it within a few minutes. I looked at their YouTube videos that's from Moza, and I thought it was pretty interesting. It's not until you actually do it then you actually figure it out. But this is the quick shortcut to start loosening everything up and slowly making sure it looks back to normal and that all your knobs are there. Now let it go, and basically all your knobs are one piece. There's no other thing moving, and nothing is extended. That's what you have to make sure. Make sure your knobs are all pointing away from the trigger or from the back end, and you could go ahead and lock up all the motors. And with that locked up and that all the knobs pointing to the front of this thing, use that thumb screw again and hold it very gently for the entire thing and just turn it back clockwise. Wait, is it clockwise? Actually, no, I just turn it towards me so it snaps back. So that's it. So counterclockwise, right? Yeah, counterclockwise. If you're looking from the thing. Anyways, just take off, well, you can take a look at the video a few times. I took a look at the video several times before figuring out which way to turn it. Take off the tripod feet, put it back in. This should fit perfectly in there in the case, like that. So if it doesn't, then check and make sure all your thumb screws are in place. We're gonna take off this too. So got my handy screwdriver, a multi-tool. Go ahead and loosen it a little. You don't need to have this very tight, just enough so that it doesn't, it's tight enough so it won't fall off. But yeah, I usually try not to over tighten these things because, your accessory mounts might be either brass or plastic. You don't want to break anything. So the L bracket goes right up there. We'll go ahead and slide this baby in there. And of course, there it goes. Make sure you watch out for that 1/4 inch screw. You don't want it to land in where the gimbal is, or else it'll scratch things up. So we're gonna rest the guy right there so it stays there, so it won't scratch anything. Okay, all the cables are back in place. There's actually cables to control cameras. There's the smartphone holder, and that's it. And as you can see, I actually have my smartphone, and this is another smartphone holder I use. There's a plastic one here. There's another plastic one that's bigger. The one they supply you is actually a little too small. So I actually tried getting another cell phone holder that actually is bigger. Actually, I'm gonna get a metal one, and I'll show you a little bit later. Go ahead and lock this thing, and it's ready to, go. It comes with a really nice styrofoam packaging, which is really cool. It protects it when you're traveling. And here's how I use it on the field. So I actually have a metal smartphone holder because I don't trust the plastic one too much. It's actually not big enough to fit my larger cell phones with a full, heavy-duty case. So I basically set it on the ground and let it do its thing in terms of calibration after I've balanced everything out with all the different axes. So it's pretty straightforward. It's pretty fast. It usually takes me like 3 minutes to set this thing up. Not a problem whatsoever, and it's pretty lightweight. It does last a good, I think I've used this for about maximum, probably on and off, probably around 9 hours continuously. But yeah, it has a battery life of 20 hours, but I'm thinking about 9 hours is what I've normally used it for, because that's like a whole day of using it. So it's pretty cool. Anyways, this is mainly what I'm doing. I'm getting footage, and it's just stabilized. And this is of course not the stabilized footage. I am basically just showing you that this thing auto stabilizes everything. It's actually better for product photography, product video work, or large video work if you're trying to help some people take video or get footage, because this helps you out in terms of video, getting better footage. Now you can actually shoot it higher or lower. This thing actually gives a good option of doing that. Also selfie mode, by triple clicking that front button, it does switch to selfie mode and points it to you, which is perfect for vlogging. And of course, this is all stabilized. I'm just showing you from like my cell phone. This is actually a stabilized video. As you can see, it's pretty far away. If I had a wider camera or my Insta360 or Action Cam, it will actually show a lot more of the background. Or if I had a camera that was a wider camera angle, it would be better. But overall, it's a good distance away, so you could do a good vlog, as well as the video is stabilized. This is the actual video you see from a non-stabilized camera. And of course, using that tripod foot, you can actually use this to control cameras remotely with your smartphone app, or control your camera, like let's say a Sony camera or some other camera, directly from the gimbal with special software. Now, I didn't download that software yet, and it's direct from Moza, so probably later I'll try it. It also comes with like different special effects like tracking, as well as like a warp tunnel movements and stuff that are pre-programmed. Yeah, I'm going to mainly use it for this stabilization, so that when I walk around doing my travel vlogs or doing some videography for a product or some other stuff, or like this pan move, it'll look a lot more stable, so I don't have to do this in post or lose resolution in my footage. So that's about it, guys. Of course, thank you for watching. I'm Sterling W, and of course, please like, subscribe, hit the bell button for more videos, DIYs, reviews from my Sterling W channel on YouTube, as well as on sterlingwong.com. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.